Wow. This is why I love coming to Delhi. You guys rock. Can we also get a big cheer for our drummer over here, because he's keeping the rhythm. Well, actually, you're my motivation. First, I would like to thank the people that brought us together. I would like to thank Rekha and Arun Puri for the amazing job that you'll do to create new India. You are amazing the way that the vibrancy that you'll have with the group, in the way that you'll bridge different generations, and you'll motivate people like myself and all our youngsters to be the best that we can be. So thank you. Kali Puri, Kaveri Bamzai, thank you so much for really being the structure behind this organization, on the way that you'll put things in layman's terms so we can read it. But to all the youth of the country, this morning I'm here to share with all of you about excellence, about being the best that we can be, about the passion and the drive to be Indian, the passion and the drive to be who we would like to see, where India would like to be in the future. So I'm going to share a little story about it. I'm going to share a little story about a dream that my father had. As some of you all might know, both my parents were athletes. My mom captained India in basketball, all 5 feet nothing of her. My mom is the reason I got my speed. She was lightning quick, both with her feet and with her mind. Very clear in thought. My father played Olympics for India in 1972 in Munich. The same Olympics that's been the only Olympics that's been shut down for 4 days because of terrorism. Out of every tough story, a good thing comes through. At least I believe so. I was conceived in those 4 days. Makes me wonder what my parents were really training for. So Dad went on after that to achieve a bronze medal, which he reckons was his biggest achievement. I reckon his biggest achievement was during those 4 days. But I was born in June '73, and before I was born, my dad would go out and talk about how his first son is going to be a professional athlete and be the first #1 athlete that India has ever seen. Dad worked really hard with me since I could remember since I was about the age of 3. I still remember being in a crib with all these multicolored balls around me, and I had to reach up and get them. I didn't realize I was doing abs. Dad made it a fun game. Even till today, every time I come home and I bring home a trophy, my father's the last one to greet me. But I must say, he's the first one there for me when I lose a match, or when I have something not so good happen in my life. Mom, on the other hand, reckons everything I do is fantastic. So I've got to be a little careful. So since I was a little boy, Dad introduced me to every single sport. I played for school in cricket, hockey, soccer, boxing, athletics. I came to school in swimming as well. There was no tennis at the time. I thought tennis was an elderman's game. I still believe that today it is. But at that age, when I was young, I was about 8 or 9 years old, football was my first love. If I got a football in front of me here, or any object, circular in shape, I guarantee it wouldn't touch the floor for 15 minutes. the age of 12, I was selected for a junior soccer program in Europe. And soccer being my love, I used to sleep with my soccer boots. I used to wake up in the morning and polish them and go to training with them. And at the age of 12, when I was asked to move to Europe, play for another country, and play for something that was more of a team sport, more for a club team rather than for an individual or for a country or for a flag or for you, I gave up my dream of a soccer player. It wasn't an easy choice for a 12-year-old, because at that age, all you want to do is have fun. At that age, you have no guarantees as to where life's going to go. And when I gave up that dream, my dad asked me, what's next? I said, tennis. I can assure you I had no idea what I was talking about at that time. And I said to Dad, I said, find me the best tennis academy anywhere on the planet and give me a year. In 1 year, I will tell you whether I could do this or not. My first year as a 12-year-old was hard. My parents separated the day I left for tennis academy. I lived in Chennai for a year as the youngest boy amongst 8. I was struggling to win games in the sets on Saturday, let alone matches. My first year, I got beaten up pretty bad. My roommate, who was the second youngest on the team, was 2 years older than me. And he was a great confidant, great teammate. And Rohit Reddy spent many nights with me, basically telling me on how I could learn the skills of tennis. He was a very talented tennis player, and as much as Rohit told me that I could learn the skills of it, I one day told him that we would probably play together. We ended up playing for India together, which was great fun. But it took me 5 years to really learn this art of how to control a yellow fuzzy tennis ball and how to make it dance to your rhythm. Tennis is a tough sport in India, especially back in the mid-80s. The infrastructure, the know-how, the knowledge of fitness, the knowledge of diet, the knowledge of sports medicine was not really there as much. But my father being a doctor as well as an athlete, was a big advantage I had. Using Dad and Mom's knowledge of sport, 5 years later, I became number 1 in the world in the juniors. And as much as my journey had started 5 years before, the real journey started when I was 18 years old, where some of you are today. While I was playing the juniors, I had the International Tennis Federation look after some expenses of travel, my coaches, my tournament schedules, my doubles partners, my practice courts. But the minute I finished the junior circuit and I turned professional and came into the big bad world of professional sport, I found myself very alone. I found myself in a small little town in Wolfsburg, Germany. I had about $30 in my pocket and a train ticket in my racket bag that brought me back home. I did not have any money to get my next train or flight from Wolfsburg to Garmisch, up in the mountains in Germany, where the first Winter Olympics happened. I did not have any money in my pocket for a hotel room. And that night, late October 1991, I spent living in the locker room of the Wolfsburg Tennis Club. The locker attendant was a 68-year-old man, about 300 pounds, beautiful smile, soft eyes, didn't speak a word of English, and I didn't speak a word of German at the time. And I had to find a way to communicate to him that I needed to spend a night in his locker room because I didn't have money for a hotel room. It was the middle of winter, so it's not like you could find a train station or a hotel lobby. I managed to communicate with him by buying him a cup of coffee and just sitting and interacting with him, using eye contact, using human touch, using humans. And before I could even ask him, he had 4 towels for me. I still remember they were green in color. One was for a little blanket, one was to lay down on the floor, one was to roll up as a pillow, and the 4th one was for a shower the next morning. He told me in his broken English that he was going to lock the tennis center because of security, but he left one window open on court number 5. And if anything broke out, there was an emergency, I had to jump out of that window. I was not jumping nowhere, I was staying right in. It was the height of winter at the time. But the next morning, I made sure I woke up before any of my comrades or teammates showed up to the site. I was the only Indian at the tournament. I was the only Indian pretty much for about a decade playing on the professional tour after Ramesh Krishnan retired. But the next day I woke up, I won 2 matches that day, singles and doubles. I won 2 matches the next day. I won 2 matches on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, and I won the singles and the doubles. Until today, I remember the night in Wolfsburg locker room. It was pretty cold that night. And even today, standing in front of you with 31 Grand Slam finals, an Olympic medal, and representing you for 24 years. I will never ever forget late October 1991 in Wolfsburg, because it's a cold and lonely day when you don't win. What's the moral of the story? Many things. Moral of the story is, we Indians can be world beaters. 1. Moral of the story is, all you wonderful children on the left there, not children, you're young adults in your uniforms. You'll throw me off with your uniforms. It looks beautiful. But with the discipline and hard work we have as students of life, we Indians make great students. We respect our elders, we listen to them, we sift what they say to see what matters to us, and we try and incorporate in our lives what we learn from our teachers, be it in a classroom, be it on a tennis court, be it in a computer science room, no matter what walk of life we're in. We have to then incorporate and execute what we learn from our adults, from our parents. And when you go out there in any walk of life that you want to achieve excellence in, standing up here in front of you, the single most thing that I'm proud of is to prove to you that a young Indian boy from Calcutta with not much opportunity can be a world leader. Growing up in Calcutta with my parents, every time I wanted to go into the cupboard to get something for them, right in front of my mom's cupboard were 50 playing jerseys, all light blue and dark blue in color. Those are national colors to play in. Every time I went to my dad's cupboard, he asked me to get something, there were another 30, 40 playing jerseys, all piled up one after the other. Both of their playing jersey numbers were number 5. I added those 2 up, and my playing jersey is number 10. The conversation on the dining table at breakfast or dinner was always about being the best we can be. It's no wonder that I get motivated more for playing for the country and playing for my flag and playing for my people than I do when it comes to playing for dollars or myself or trophies. People keep trying to ask, they ask me as to explain this. When you're playing at Wimbledon, you say it's the greatest arena that you've ever been, you stepped in. They say that center court at Wimbledon is the mecca of tennis. You've said it many a year. But when you play Davis Cup, whether you play at the NSCI or the DLTA Stadium in Delhi, whether you play in Fréjus in the south of France against a formidable French team that have 4 top 10s in the world, and you're playing on an alien surface, which is clay courts, you've never really grown up on the clay. What do you find as a solution to win? When I was younger, I didn't have an answer because sometimes you just do what you do, right? You don't always have to find an answer or a reason to explain it, you just do it. But as the years have gone on, I've tried to break it down, and my humble explanation of that is, if you really deeply desire to achieve something, no matter what it is, if that burning desire is so strong, you will make sure that you surround yourself with the right team, the right people, and you will ask the right questions to then find a solution to be the best you can be. There's one person from my team here today, Gitika, who's in front, and I wouldn't be who I am without Gitika. I wouldn't be here today without Gitika. And I'd like to thank G, as I call her G-Star, and my whole team, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my coaches who have been with me 20 plus years. Rick Leach has been with me 23 years, my tennis coach. He's won 9 Grand Slams out of 19 finals. My fitness coach, Dave Herman, has been with me 23 years. He has coached the likes of Jim Courier, Pete Sampras, Tiger Woods, Ernie Els, Ken Griffey Jr., Shaquille O'Neal. The list keeps going on. My yoga master, Sanjay Singh, who's from Delhi, not far from here, has been with me 24 years. Surrounding yourself with a good team, surrounding yourself with good quality people, their skills do not have to match. Their passion and then their enthusiasm for excellence needs to match. You get people from different skill sets that bring to the table their speciality in their way. But at the end of the day, it's up to each and every one of you to set a vehicle of communication, to set a methodology of understanding what they're trying to say. And when you really ask them the right question and really understand what they're saying to you, then to break that down and doing it in your style. I wouldn't be where I am today without my team. And that's why I honor them every time I come up to speak. Playing for the flag, playing for your country, playing for your people is phenomenal. It's the greatest high, and it's probably the single most driving factor that's enabled me to play for 24 years. But when you really break it down, the passion to achieve excellence, as lonely as that road is, you've got to make it a happy road. You've got to find tricks, and sometimes trick your mind into it by getting to know yourself really well, to just set a spark off. Because once you set that spark to achieve excellence, the rest of your skill sets kick in, and then it becomes a rhythm. For me, before we get into the question and answer session, which is the real session I really love, because then I deal with specific issues, please take the time to think about your questions. We'll probably be able to answer about 20 of them. Before I get into that, the one governing theory that I've lived my life with is, if you can handle triumph and disaster and treat both these two imposters just the same, then let's play the game of life and play it hard.